We'll call the October 11th, 2023 meeting of the Fire Station Building Committee to order. We're meeting in room 120 of Town Hall as well as on Zoom. One of our members is remote, so I'll take roll call attendance. Todd Lindmark. Here. Chris Baker.
Here.
Aaron Hunt.
Here.
Justin Casanova Davis.
Here.
Chief Kinney.
That's
Justin Yanosik.
Here.
First agenda item is public comment. There's no one in the room.
no one's
All
online.
right. Steve, I'll turn it over to you then for the OPM report.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, hopefully. Okay, you all seeing my presentation?
Yes.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Very good. Good evening. OPM report for the October 11th Fire Station Building Committee meeting. Progress since our last meeting, which was on September 13th. Structural steel erection is complete. The ironworkers are currently finishing up the detailing and steel decking on all floors. The masons are continuing to install CMU walls around the perimeter of the building. They do have stair number 2, the training stair and the elevator shaft complete. Elevator shaft is complete up to the second floor level at this point. Installation of electrical conduit and boxes are ongoing as the CMU walls are being installed. They are prepping for the second floor slab pour with installation of welder wire, mesh and utility sleeves. The 5,000 gallon holding tank has been installed and plumbing and electrical rough connections have been installed. Existing septic structures have been removed. Temporary septic connections to the existing tight tank have been made until the new structures can be used. They've started excavation for the new septic structures, and we are continuing with the installation of the mock-up panel. We actually had a meeting today with the building envelope commissioning agent, the dam proofing subcontractor, general contractor, Thorn Whittier and Vertex, to go over what's been done to date. We're having a follow-up meeting next week to go over installation of the window and the storefront within the structure, trying to get the bugs out of the wall construction before we start working on the building. Photo documentation for tonight. As usual, I have some aerial photos that were taken by Andy Baskinowski. These particular aerials with the drone was done on October 4th. Obviously, that is the new building being erected. You have your structural steel and your steel decking. The existing station here is in the front. This is another aerial photo taken from the east side. Aerial photo taken from the west side, near the church parking lot. And then another aerial photo taken from just over Main Street. Some of the construction photos, just going back to the September 20th, the delivery of the Xerxes 5,000 gallon holding tank that will take all the drain waste, trench drain waste from the apparatus bay. I got a few photos on that. That was when it was delivered. On the 22nd, It was set in place in the ground at the rear of the new fire station. Photo of it basically backfilled with pea stone and filter fabric, and then the site contractor removing the trench box sides on the 26th. September 27th, a couple views of the steel erection in progress at the south elevation. And that's along the rear of the building. Photo of the second floor steel and decking. Excuse me for a second. 27th, a training stair 2, and the CMU wall and steel at the west elevation. Also on the 27th, the northwest elevation in front of the building. Moving on to the 4th of October. Again, the second floor steel facing northwest towards Main Street. This is a steel and deck erection at the lower training roof at the rear of the building. Also on the 4th, the steel roof deck. This is facing east. And then a couple views of the apparatus bay, also on the 4th, which was last week. This is facing southwest towards the rear of the building. This is facing west towards the church. And this is facing east towards the living quarters. This is actually also a photo of the progress on the erection of the CMU walls. Photo from today, this is the prep of the second floor with welded wire mesh supported on high chairs, getting ready for the slab pour that is now scheduled for this coming Monday. Also from today, excavation and prep for the new 2,000-gallon septic tank on the east side of the building, adjacent to the living quarters. And this is just a site overview. We try and take a few of those throughout the project, just showing the completion. This is off the slope at the rear of the building. And then just a photo of the tribute case for Deputy Chief Petrich. That's going to be placed somewhere within the building. Either the vestibule, the lobby, or potentially the training room. We're going to be going over that as part of the FF&E discussion with Dawn Whittier's interior design group. Any question on progress to date?
Steve, for the mock-up, any idea when that'll be ready? If we'll want to try and schedule maybe before the next meeting to review it, or if we need to come outside of a meeting?
Well, it's going to be sort of progress in stages. Right now, it's still just the substrate,
Yeah.
with commissioning agent checking out the ABB and the overlaps between the different subs. And the next step is going to be putting the window in and going over that as far as the details, again, for making sure that we have a weather and watertight assembly, and then at some point, then we'll progress on to siding and shingles. So I think it's something that you're certainly welcome to see the progression, but I think you probably want to see the end result.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in that than the interior, so to speak. So that'll be a couple weeks off, anyways, and potentially for the next meeting, or maybe it is a separate meeting. We'll coordinate that.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have any? questions? Nope. You need to keep going, Steve.
Okay. The schedule look ahead for the next few weeks. Ironwork is going to complete the steel detailing and the installation of any miscellaneous pieces of steel decking. Masonry walls are going to continue for a while. And the second floor slab pour is scheduled for Monday, the 16th. And then they'll move on to the first floor slab pours, which will probably be in parts. The Ape is an 8-inch thick slab. The more office areas and other areas are 5-inch. They're planning on tackling the 5-inch floor slabs first because they do have some plumbing and some trench drains that have to be installed in the Ape. They're going to get the roofer in to install the sheathing and vapor barrier over the roof so they can make the interior somewhat weather tight. And they'll continue with the installation of the new septic structures and start underground piping for the roof drains.
Steve, remind me what our testing process is for the roof membrane.
I'm sorry, what was that again? The what process?
Our waterproof testing process for the roof membrane to prove that it's functioning.
Well, today we had the building commissioning agent come out and start looking at the mock-up. Part of that mock-up was we have roof sections on it, flat and sloped, and that he reviewed the ABB that was installed by the roofers, by Stanley Roofing. Is going to have some comments on it. Nothing major, just making sure that they roll out the wrinkles, and they're going to start doing periodic inspections as we go. And then as we get down to having membrane down, I believe we have called for infrared, and then I think we have an uplift test that's also scheduled, but I would have to check on that. But we do have testing once it's installed, but we also have periodic inspections. And part of the roofing installation is we require that the manufacturer's local rep come out at the start, during, for a final punch list, and then a final warranty inspection as the roofers are doing the work.
Thanks.
And that's mainly on the membrane side. The shingles, different manufacturer, but that also has its built-in warranties. Okay. Should I continue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Just some other issues wanted to touch base on. Castagna now through their work through the end of September, based on their schedule values and requisition that we're reviewing and processing now. They're about 21.4% complete with the project. Fire Prevention Week is coming up as now, and the open house is this Saturday the 14th, which we had mentioned before. It goes from 11 to 2. There is no access to the construction site, but they'll be able to, whoever comes will be able to view the site from through the fence. I know the chief may have some more on that. I don't know if you want to jump in now, chief, or wait.
Yeah, we're going to have the open house, and we're going to have as we always do, all the vehicles will be pulled out. So what we're doing and what we discussed with Castagna and Vertex and Door Reader is just putting up some panels of fencing so that people can walk just outside of the bays and look over at the site, but not have access to the site. We want to do a fence because, as you all know, children tend to wander and do what they want, and if it was just tape or something else, there's even some adults probably that would wander and go underneath the tape. So we want to actually put a barrier there where they can see, but they don't, won't be able to access the site or endanger themselves.
Nice. I think,
And,
yeah.
and all are welcome, correct, chief?
Yes, all are welcome.
Are you guys gonna have any old boards up or anything?
Yes,
For,
Probably could be.
The floor
good to get
plan.
rendering.
yeah,
please.
we actually, they're up in the, so I've kept a couple that are up in the lobby, so when people come, they can see like where we've come from, kind of.
Yeah.
So I'll put them all up and you can kind of see like, hey, we're on our way to that
Yeah.
final render.
You're gonna get the questions.
Yeah, yeah.
We're getting them.
Yeah, we still have them, I still have them, and the easels are all.
Okay, next item, the steel signing. We have chosen a beam within the app bay that will be exposed once the project is complete. The intent is to paint it white, sign names, and, similar to a topping out where the beam goes at the top of the structure, but many times it gets covered up. This will be exposed, for people to see once the station is complete. There was a request to review the process and procedure with the select board. We're going to coordinate that with Castagna's activities and obviously with the fire department, and NCTV would offer to videotape. The exact details haven't all been worked out yet. And right now isn't the time, because we certainly want to, have this once the slabs are poured. It's a little tough walking around right now. But it's an ongoing discussion. I don't know if anybody from the committee has any thoughts on it, or recommendations, or.
I mean, so what's the like, are we coming up with a date and then going to the select board of when, I guess, I don't know what the process is.
I don't even think it would be a process. I think, I guess with the beam signing, are we just doing fire department, fire station building? Each beam process is unique to, community, so.
I want to capture this group and all that they've done, so I think this group needs to sign it.
That's what I was thinking, and I think if you do that, you probably want the select board to be apprised of that and have the opportunity
Yeah,
to sign it as well.
I-
But, so there's no process. I think it's just once we figure out the date, and once I heard what, we intend to do with the beam, just offer the invitation to the select board as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the fire department, the committee,
Yeah.
right, the select board will probably want to sign it.
Yeah.
And then Dora, Whittier, and Vertex. I don't know if there's anybody else that should sign it, but at a minimum, I think that's it.
I agree.
Stand.
I know.
And Castagna,
Yeah.
right.
Our, my association of firefighters, definitely want some of the recent retirees or members of the department that are still around, that, kind of pushing this mission many moons ago. As it comes to fruition, to have them be a part of it, and to have a place for them to
Yeah.
sign as well.
How big's the beam, Steve?
I was just gonna ask the same question.
Well, one thing to understand, this beam is in the air now. It's not going to be on the ground. So the part of the process is, access to get there to sign it. So something's going to have to be built, which, we'll coordinate with Castagna. But it is, it's not 20 feet in the air. It's I think it's going to be 8 or 10 feet once the slab is in. But it's not on the ground. Again, at topping out, usually the beam is sitting on the ground. Everybody signs it. Our company just had a school do one where all the kids came and signed it, and then they lifted it into the air with the little Christmas tree on it. This is a little bit different. Again, it's not going to be covered. It's going to be visible, for the rest of the existence of the building. But we do have to make sure we have safe access to get up to it, especially with maybe with some of the retired fire staff.
What size beam is it, Steve?
I believe it's a W8. I'm not sure what the weight is on it.
How long is it?
20, 20,
So there's
20,
plenty of
25
space.
feet.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. We're not gonna run out of space, no.
yeah. Two sides.
Probably not, but,
No?
Two sides, Steve?
Are we thinking the side that faces,
I think it's just the one.
the apparatus, because it's on the,
It's a lot of space.
on the west side, over by where the sprinkler line comes in, and, there's some, sort of, mechanical and workshop type areas. So, we were thinking one side, I mean, we can certainly do two, but I think one side is what you'll be able to see easiest.
Let us know when we can sign it.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe when you guys get an idea of timing, we can discuss like an exact date. It sounds like it's not
Yeah, it's gonna be after, like he said, he wants to wait till after the slab.
critical, it's always
Yeah.
exposed, so
Yeah.
it's not like we're up against a time constraint,
No.
so, okay.
No, and that's part of the process too, the process of deciding when's the best time, and, part of that input is from Castagna.
Yeah, okay.
So it's in process. So the next item is a potential water cistern training structure. Just to give a little bit of background on this, obviously we've got flat roof sections. We have roof drains that are internal to the building that drain out of the building through piping that go throughout the structure. The outfall for the roof drains is actually the basin that is going to be located where the existing station is now. So that won't be completed until the station is demolished. So the contractor wants to install all the roof drain piping, but they need a place to drain it. And some kind of temporary setup is part of what they have to do. But what they like, and I think would be a benefit to the project. I've been on projects where we've had roof drains connected to plastic pipe, and there's a pipe sticking out the side wall of a building or out a window, draining to the ground up until such time that they can connect it down below. Castagna brought up a thought of putting in an actual precast structure outside the building in line with the outfall piping that will go to the future basin, and using that to enable them to connect all the piping inside the building and close up walls and ceiling, as opposed to waiting until we're into phase 2 to do that work, which I think is good for the project. When we talked about it at the job meeting, the chief was interested in potentially leaving that structure in place to use it as a training structure. So we thought that we'd bring it up at the committee meeting tonight to get everybody's thoughts on it. I did get sort of a ballpark price for it from the site work contract. This is without markups, without us even really looking at it. It was about 95, let's round up to $10,000 to buy that structure, to cut in the piping and do the work. We just got it today, so we haven't really vetted it out yet, but I was looking for an order of magnitude. And that would be a structure that would include a frame and cover, but it would allow the chief to do some confined space. And Chief, I'll let you jump in on this point as far as what your intent would be for that structure.
Yeah, so we, in discussing it, it kind of came, we're trying to make as many parts of this building multifaceted or have multiple functions. And when we were discussing that, it was like, okay, we could dig a pit and pump it out or they brought up building a temporary structure. I was like, why don't we leave it, and then I could use it for confined space training, and also when it's full of water we can draft out of it instead of having to maybe go to city mills. We can actually draft and do some circulating water right there on site, but not actually have to tap into the town water system to do that. which can be advantageous for us to be able to still, to sit there on site as opposed to having to, not that we object to going down to city mills, but just having another option, potentially do that and to do more of that kind of stuff there on site, centrally located is, advantageous for us.
I guess similar to a rain barrel that some projects are using, and that's more for landscaping irrigation, but this would be reuse of stormwater. And I mean, it would still drain out. It would outlet. It would just have a sump that the chief could draw water from.
So this, it's not really a temporary structure then, it's gonna be part of the permanent drainage system?
It would end up being permanent, yes.
It being in line.
So, but in front of the front door.
More so in front of the apparatus bays. It'll be an H20 loaded structure.
Yeah. We're not moving any piping that wasn't already part of the design. Like the chief said, we would drop it in line with the existing.
Well, I think we need to see where it would be.
12 inch.
I think we need to see where it would be in plan. I mean, I think anywhere in front of the building becomes difficult, but it's worth seeing. And then, I guess my second question is, I don't understand why it would be a cost to the project. The contractor has to do it anyway. We're saving them money by not having them demo it. So, where does the cost come from?
Well, he may, I mean, this developed out of a conversation, then they may not use a structure, they may just dig a hole. And, it may create, some coordination issues as far as finishing things, but, I don't think they would go ahead and purchase a precast structure, with a frame and cover, if it was just gonna be temporary.
So presumably they had some other way that they were gonna do this, and they're offering for a cost to purchase a precast structure that then we would just keep in place.
And maybe it's a shared cost, that's, we're bringing it up to get everybody's thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, there must be some, I think what Aaron's getting at is that there must be some cost of what they were gonna do originally,
Right, they own something, that's correct.
Right. Maybe it's not a precast structure, but it was something.
No, it wouldn't be, no.
Okay. Yeah, so I think probably need to see where it's gonna go. And then, are you concerned with like what it's gonna look like from the street? I think it's all underground.
Yeah, it's underground.
It would just be a cover, that's all.
It's like a manhole.
Yep.
So in many
Good clarification.
fire stations that have confined spaces like this, or tank fill stations and such, like we saw when we went to visit Sharon, it's kind of like we even paint the cover red. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna look like a crappy sewer cap in the front of the building. We can paint it red, we can put an emblem on it. As the chief said, this is part of the confined space training. So we make an accent out of it. And then we can we'll put a plan together, show you exactly where it is. Maybe take a photograph of something and share what this thing could look like. But I think to your point about temporary means, yeah, they were gonna dig a hole, they were gonna put a pump in it, pump the water out. And this came up as, well, instead of having it be a crappy hole, and then obviously we're working out of the fire station while the hole is there, while the demo is going on, we're working out of the new station. Castagna said, well, why don't we put a structure in? That'll control things a little bit better. And the chief said, yeah, and then I can then leave it there, because we'll use it for training. So it's kind of like a win-win. I think as Steve said, we gotta look at the whole, like credits versus ads.
Right.
Because it would be a benefit to the project, but at the same time, they definitely are required to do something temporary, so.
Yeah, and it's a benefit to them too, so.
Yes.
Correct.
Let's see what their proposal is.
Steve,
I was gonna say, when does a decision need to be made on
That's
that?
my
When-
question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is it before the next meeting?
Steve, did you hear
Yeah, I think we have plenty of time to make a decision on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're only gonna be starting, some of the underground for the roof drains, in the next couple of weeks. The plumbers have to, I mean, there's a lot of work to go. I think by the next meeting, in a month, we should be fine to be able to, present a little bit more. Again, this is just sort of the beginning of the thought process on this. We just got some information from them, so, but I wanted to present it, get everybody's thoughts on it.
Okay. Any other discussion on it?
So we'll continue that for next meeting with more information.
Okay.
But I'm taking it that the committee thinks, there is some benefit to it, we should pursue it, not just shut it down, correct?
Yeah, I think we want to, if the chief thinks there's a benefit to it, I think we should at least vet it and see what's presented.
Okay. Next item, just an update on schedule. We did get an updated schedule dated September 25th. Project is on time. We've got the FD move into the new building beginning in July, with project completion November of 2024, which is per our schedule, our overall schedule. Obviously, the line items in between move here and there, but that's just how a schedule works. So we're in good shape schedule-wise. Eversource, the Main Street power loop, just as sort of reminder, and it was an unknown item when the project started. It was even unknown by Eversource, but the existing station, or the transformer for the existing station, which has now been removed, was fed from both the east and the west Main Street off of different loops. Right now, it's only fed from the east, the new transformer. Like I said, it was unknown that's how that transformer was wired. We did talk to Eversource to find out, can we potentially reconnect that? We obviously got a generator, but in the case that the west side of town loses power, but the east doesn't, and the fire station is still got power, and vice versa. Long story short is they said they could certainly look at it. They know how they would do it. They would have their own people do it. There would be nothing to involve the general contractor and electrician on it. But they do need to have a work order. So we're in the process of submitting a work order, because there would be a price for it. So we asked them, okay, we don't know whether we're going to do it or not, but we want to know how much it costs so we can present it to the town. So that's the direction we're going in with that, and see if it's reasonable or it's if it's not. So that's something that's in the process. I have no more information than that, but just to let you know that we're pursuing that. And then
Steve, sorry, I want to jump in with some questions on that one. So, sorry, the existing transformer had two connections. We took the existing transformer out, we put a new one in. Who connected to it? That was Eversource? Or the project?
correct. We brought that to it when, if you recall, we added a pole on Main Street. We went overhead, then we went underground, and then all that primary is coming into the transformer, which is located at the rear of the existing station, in between the station and the living quarters trailer.
So let me rephrase my question, I guess. Right? We started looking into the existing transformer. We found out that there were two connections. We took it out. The plan was to put the new transformer in with one connection. Why? Why wasn't the plan to put the new transformer in with the two connections that the existing had?
We didn't find out that there was two connections until we were already taking everything apart. The project was underway. It wasn't discovered during design.
So you're saying design owned one connection?
Correct. And and that design came from Eversource in conjunction with, with the electrical engineer.
Yeah, Eversource didn't realize that there was actually a loop that connected.
They didn't know.
They didn't know.
Why wouldn't they know that?
So why would
Good
this,
question.
why would this, well, and why would this redundant connection be a cost to the project? Why wouldn't it be a cost to Eversource for their power grid?
Their lack
Because
of knowledge of.
we have a system that works without it, so, I mean, it's.
So who's asking for the second connection?
I don't think it has to be there again.
Who's asking for the second connection?
We were exploring it as a redundancy because it just helps, like, we have the generator before, and I didn't realize it until after the discovery that it had two connections, that in the times when I've been there in snowstorms and there's been like a huge transformer let loose and all of Town Hill is dark and the other side has power, and we would generator would come on for maybe 5 minutes and then we would have power, and then vice versa. It happened again, another snowstorm where all to the east of us was black. Town Hill had power. We lost power for about 5 minutes and we got power back. And then I was like, oh, that makes sense, because now we didn't realize it, but there's a redundant loop there, so you could get power from either direction or either side of town, depending on what happened or where the outage was.
All right, so the project's asking for the redundant connection, not Eversource.
Right, so you don't need both
Correct.
for the transformer to function.
No.
It's just,
You have a functioning system now with the primary coming in on one side, you have a generator. But since it was there and before, and it's doable again, we thought we would pursue it. If you don't want us to pursue it, we don't have to. We can stop right now.
I'm not suggesting we don't pursue something we think there's value in. I'm just trying to align the facts. So,
I think like with all these things, one thing that I asked when we did learn about this is, let the committee know, but also find what the cost is. Because if
Right.
it's, if it's $100,000 cost, maybe it isn't something that we worth pursuing. But if it's, if it's reasonable, then something worth considering. So I think we should at least get the cost and then have a
yeah,
discussion.
I mean, it seems that if it's giving you redundancy, then there's a benefit to it, but yeah, what is the cost of that?
well, I mean,
I'm not
let's
asking
just,
for any action. I'm not asking for any action by the committee. I'm
Yeah.
keeping you informed of some of the higher level topics that we're pursuing.
yeah. It seems to me that there's some value for Eversource for this redundant connection to exist as well, so maybe drop that nugget and see what they say.
So, Aaron, if I had to speculate, I would say that when the town decided to put the underground infrastructure that goes westward from the fire station, and then allow the overhead to continue eastward of the fire station, I would suspect they put in new wires underground. They got the new wires to the fire station. The old wires were up on poles. Okay, so now what do? And they connected the wires from the east side on the poles to the wires underground on the west side in this junction box, which is the handhole that we're talking about. And then that handhole just happened, by circumstance, to be connected to the fire station transformer. So I think from Eversource's point of view, they kind of probably look at this as an opportunity to say, all right, well now we don't have a situation where we have to connect all the wires. We can dead end one and just have the transformer fed by one. We don't need to go back and connect these again. And I think that's when the chief said, well, but it is a nice thing to have, right? When half of the town goes down, I still have power from the other half. And the generator doesn't have to turn on.
I
So
totally understand the
that's-
benefit to the project. I guess I'm just arguing that it seems like there's also benefit to Eversource. So if we haven't asked that question or pushed that point, I think we should. Especially if the wires are sitting there in the same box and they're just not connected. I mean, that's,
Yeah, I think that's
No,
actually how we figured
The
it out.
wires are gone. Yeah, the wires are gone. And one of the things that sort of prompted some of this also is that old pull box, for lack of a better term for it, it ends up in the apron in front of the app base. So the choices are either it gets removed and abandoned, which is somewhat what it's destined to at this point, or it gets changed out to an H20 structure, electric manhole, and then Eversource would go out into Main Street to connect that manhole to the power source, and then to the new manhole that we installed on the other side of the fire station. And I did caution them, is that I said, when you look at this, you can't just decide that you're gonna open up the entire street and cut off the fire station. It has to be coordinated to let the fire station remain in operation. Because if you recall, during design, we went through a lot of effort not to run utilities across the front of the existing station, so that there'd be no potential for interruption of a response.
All right, so are we saying that my question isn't valid?
Your question of whether it benefits Eversource or not?
Yes.
We can ask them the question. I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is, but. So we'll pursue it.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, was someone asking another question?
Oh, no, I just said thanks.
Yeah, you just said, thank you, Steve. I don't know if you can
Okay.
hear me better.
Is it, where's the microphone? Am I too far from the
I think it's
microphone?
right here.
Justin,
It's from the sound bar over there, actually.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's why you can hear me.
yeah.
I'll just start yelling, Steve. How's that? Is that better?
I can hear you. Okay, and the last thing, just the permanent power transition. Another conversation we had with Eversource was whether we could power both buildings. Right now the transformer is powering the existing station. We want to know whether we could power both buildings from that one transformer. They said that we cannot. At some point, we're going to need to start doing startup on the equipment in the new building. So we're working through when we're going to do that transition. We know that the living quarters trailer has a separate power feed, so it's really just the main station. What needs to remain running. I mean, we're going to be in the spring, early summer, so things like heat probably won't be necessary. So we're working through that to make sure that we don't have any power issues with the existing station, but we're able to do startup and commissioning in the new station. So the next item is proposed change order status. We do have a number of PCOs that we've finalized. Dornwood is going to be issuing change order number 1 for $66,403.56. Most of these we've gone over the last number of committee meetings. We do have some PCOs that are still under review that are getting close. We've got a credit coming in on the water line for reducing it from 6 to 2. There's an area drain that needs to be connected that's in the back of the building that there's a revised PR that's gone out there where we did get one price and we're waiting for an updated price. We've got a discussion about metal deck over trusses that we're reviewing. The metal deck is shown on the drawings, and there's a small dispute on that we've got to go through. PCO 11 came in for a $0 change to a model of a skylight, but we've ultimately decided to delete that skylight because the performance characteristics just didn't meet what was necessary, and really couldn't find one that did. We've gone over that with the chief. He has no issue with deleting that skylight, and that will ultimately become a credit to the project. However, if all PCOs that have been submitted to date are approved, we're at 103,000. And that's 10% of our construction contingency, and not even dealing with our soft cost contingencies. So we're in good shape as far as change orders go and our construction contingency. We do have some PCOs that are pending submission. Like I said, that revision to the area drain for a catch basin. We're deleting some corner guards. We're deleting some electrical floor boxes. We're revising an intake duct to an air handling unit because of some coordination and ceiling height issues. We're deleting a wall-mounted electrical radiant panel from stair 2 because it's going to be in a wet environment. We're adding some training hooks. We made some revisions to card readers. And then we have a few others that PRs haven't been issued yet, but we know they're coming. Additional steel at one bay that was, the width was a little bit longer than it could be without an additional member. Blocking for the future ladder, which we talked about. Cap piping for a patio deck that we have talked about. The water cistern that we just talked about. Reconnecting an existing catch basin on the east side of the project that was interrupted because of the electrical duct bank. Adding a traffic line at the apron that helps the drivers guide the trucks into the app bay. And then there's some minor revisions to some electric reels. We're going to credit a couple out and add 3 more at a lower amperage. So nothing really big in any of that, but they are going to be coming in, and they're ongoing items. So that's all I have for my presentation. Any questions on any of the changes of PCOs?
Yeah, Steve, I got one more question on the transformer. So, if we're trying to figure out how to balance the permanent power versus the existing power, it would seem to me that the redundant service would also benefit the contractor, because they could have the existing building connected to one side of town, and they could have the new project connected to the other side of town.
That's a possibility, I guess.
Maybe we can look at that.
Does that mean we'd have to have a second transformer though? I think the issue
I was
was
just gonna say that.
the transformer we have can't do both buildings. I don't think it's a matter of whether we have power. I think we have access to power. It's the transformer itself. And that was a long lead item and all of that. Like, it was a big deal.
Yeah, that is true. We'd have to feed it temporarily from a new manhole. I think that would be an effort if it could be done at all.
The effort gets
They basically said that transformer cannot be used for both buildings at the same time.
So the solution is to find another transformer.
Or I think they're talking.
No, we've been talking about
phasing the work.
Another generator. Yeah. And even potentially powering something from the new panel in the new building back to the old building. Again, it's another thing that's in the process. Electrical engineer who's going to be involved, checking, what the loads we really need in the building. So it's a group discussion, inclusive of the contract.
Sure. The existing transformer that we removed is long gone?
Yes. It was, if you remember, it was located within the building. So when it was removed, it was put on a flatbed and taken away by Resource.
Any other questions from anyone?
Nope.
No? I think we're good, Steve, thank you.
Okay, South Sharon?
All right, the other two discussion items I think we already touched on, steel signing ceremony. That's TBD, based on slab placement and some other coordination. Then Norfolk Fire Department open house. I don't know if there's anything else you want to bring up on it that you haven't already. Okay. Any other discussion items for anyone?
Just a request, and I don't know if the request is to Steve or Ron, but I went through my emails, and I don't seem to have a link to the CD set. Is there any way I could get one?
Sure.
Or the committee, I don't mean to be
I think, I
Yep.
specific.
think one was sent out at one time, because I had one,
Do you?
yeah. I don't know if it's the latest, but it was the
Well, at
addendum I
this
sent.
point, we want to give you a link to the conform set.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
that's
Yep,
what-
thank you.
Yeah, it was after all the addenda.
One other thing, Chief, did you want to bring up the words
Oh, yeah.
over the doors?
We can try to do that. So we were, it's been brought up at the work group meetings a few times, trying to make a decision on whether we label the bays, little signs above the entryway of the bays with like the apparatus number or something like that. And after discussing with my staff, we rotate our vehicles pretty regularly, and we like to have the flexibility to move them based on, time of the year and, what's going to be going out first or more heavily or more frequently. So we moved on from that, and we're kind of looking at using like words that embody our core values like excellence, integrity, service, leadership, duty, and valor for the 6 bays across the front. And they would just be labeled with those words as opposed to putting rescue, engine, ladder, whatever. You just put those up there, and it doesn't matter what goes in the bay, but it does capture our core values so everybody sees them as they drive by. And for me, as our personnel enter or come to the site, they're reminded of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Sounds like a great idea.
it's a cool idea, yeah. I think you have full approval on that.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, we wanted to run that by. We just, we were thinking about it. It's like, maybe we should
Yeah, it's a
talk
good
about
idea.
that or mention that tonight to see what the thoughts were.
Nice. All right, any other discussion items? All right, we'll move to approval of meeting minutes.
For the August 9th meeting minutes, reviewed with no comments, I would like to ask for a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Second?
Gonna do a roll call. Aaron Hunt,
Yes.
Justin Casanova Davis,
Yes.
Chief Guinea,
Yes.
Todd Whitlock.
Yes.
Kevin Champagne, wow, it's been a day.
Yes.
And Justin Yanosek.
Yes.
All right, I think they are approved.
Yep, passes unanimously. All right. Any other action items for anyone?
No.
All right, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Justin Yanosek,
Yes.
Chris Baker,
Yes.
Aaron Hunt,
Yes.
Justin Casanova Davis.
Yes.
Chief Kinney,
Yes.
Todd Lindmark,
Sure.
Kevin Champagne, yes. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
See you in a month.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.